Oh my. Oh my.
You are now tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show. Yo, what it is and what it do. You're officially tuned into the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM, KCAA in the Inland Empire, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app and on the NBC Radio Network. As always, I am your man's J Love, aka Uncle Jiggy, and I'm joined by the statesman himself, Mr. Farron. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And we also have with us all the time, intern Lillian. What's Gucci? Oh,
you have a wonderful day.
Oh, you were having little glitches right there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Hi, everybody.
So it is officially Saturday, the 28th. And this week has been really, really interesting with regards to news. Obviously the stuff going on in Afghanistan, the continual situation, which is the 1-9. I just learned this, the new hip wave, the 1-9, that's that COVID-19. Yo, you got that 1-9? And we got a lot of stuff going on, but I just want to say this. We will be making an announcement next week about a new platform that we will be on. And I'm super excited because not only is it going to extend our reach, but it's going to make it easier for you, the fan, the listener, to tune into the Revolution Radio Show.
Yeah.
It will not be televised.
But it will be streamed. Chuck. So, with that being said, I want to jump right up in here. Lillian, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, so speaking of the whole drama with Afghanistan, there's even more happening as the attack near Kabul's airport resulted in 13 U.S. service members dead and 18 service members injured. But that's what the news has been highlighting everywhere, but they don't really highlight that over 60 Afghanistans were killed, the people from theirs, and 140 were injured during that attack from the two suicide bombers and the gunman who opened fire and was just shooting everywhere. So there was just big commotions that were happening, and so many people who were waiting by the airport, like, mothers, children, husbands, people just trying to get away from this whole drama and trying to get to the U.S. were killed in this as well, as it was an attack towards the U.S. military.
Well, I'm going to chime in on this one. And first of all, I want to say my theory from the beginning has been, here's where I go in with my little theories and my conspiracies and all those things, right? But I believe, because look, I've said this from the jump. I don't care if we did this 2 years ago, 2 years from now, tomorrow, it was always going to be the same result, right? With regards to occupation of Afghanistan, right? Because the way they view it was an occupation. They didn't view it, for the most part, especially when you look at young men, right? Young men like ages like 14 to like 25. They're ripe for radicalization, right? Because much like here in the United States, when you're dealing with a police type state, right? The military there, the first people that you target when you're doing, your operations and whatnot are the young men, right? Because they're the plausible candidates. And I'm putting air quotes for those of y'all who can't see me, right? So many of the young men are very, very radicalized, the young men, right? So that's why it's a terrible situation for the women and the children, because the young dudes are super radicalized, right? That being said, I think, in my opinion, okay, and Farron, you were in the military, so I definitely want to hear your take on this, but I think we wanted it to be messy. Like we wanted, because then that will get American sentiment behind a reinvasion because they killed Americans. That's why they're not talking about the Afghans, because let's be honest, Americans don't care about nobody but themselves. We don't care, but they killed the Americans. We need to go get the bad guys, the evil people, and get them because they killed America. Who cares if they're raping girls? Doesn't matter. They killed Americans. And so that's my take. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. What do you
All over
think,
the
Brian?
news, they just show, the caskets and the American flags on them, and just like having this big mourning, and instead of taking the next steps, and it's just a lot of heat on Biden and what his response was, which was even stirring up the pot more. But go ahead, Ron, you were going to say something?
Yeah, no, again, if the process would have taken place, in a way that as the military could have been prepared and staged correctly, with the, oh man, how can I say this?
Just say it.
If we would have been able to protect ourselves, those suicide bombers wouldn't be able to get, between the barricades. So having to go back, having to leave and then go back, it was already destined. I won't say destined, but it was already
it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. So if we would have been prepared ahead of time with all the risk factors and taking the precautions to protect and set up perimeters, then you wouldn't have that, because they would have been stopped long before they penetrated through that airport. So it's just unfortunate. Shouts out to my fellow brothers and possibly sisters who have passed away during that time, because those soldiers, those warriors are connected to people. And so it's not just 13, 17 lives. Those are, thousands. Multiply that by 1,000. So that whole families are impacted by, something that I'm not saying that could have been prevented, but definitely as a platoon sergeant in the military, you do risk factors way ahead of time. Like before you go to an area, you go out and you go and observe the risk and the weather and all the, you predict the challenges that are going to come, and you look for ways to prevent those. And having to go back in there that way, yeah, that's just more challenging.
I agree with you 100%. And I think, again, I'm not a military strategist, never been in the military. We've discussed that I never should have been in the military. But I would have think that the wisest thing would have been to evacuate the civilians first, evacuate the civilian population that was going to be leaving, right? Especially those who were U.S. citizens, foreign nationals, people from other countries that were helping the NATO people, all of that. Then you can definitely, as a military, roll out a lot easier because y'all got the guns and the things. Because the civilians they're helpless. They really are. And so, but I think the takeover definitely would have happened regardless, like no matter what.
Yeah.
And
for my plan, I just think the exit plan could have been thought through just a little bit more. Just from me, like I said, just from my experience of the 24 years. Like you don't just take up and pack up and just leave. Like no, there's a preparation, there's conversations, there's meetings. Like that just didn't happen. Like, oh, we're gonna pull the troops out tomorrow. No, that should have been that's like a, that's like a 6 month, 9 month plan. Like, not just happened overnight. So the way the media portrays it as well, we don't know the behind the scenes to all of that. So.
Yeah, because again, there had to have been. I'll put it to you this way. I remember years ago, I was at Elektra Records, right, which is a pretty big record label. Motley Crue, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, etc. Right. And it was in the same building, and it's actually under the umbrella of like Warner Brothers and Atlantic Records, right? Same building. And I remember there was a buyout, right? But before, I remember hearing the little rumblings like 2 weeks before. And this is just a record company. This ain't the military. You know what I mean? This ain't a whole. But I remember going into the office and watching people like scrambling and getting papers and wait, what's going on? What's happening? And then the whole, hey, you haven't heard? There's about to be a sale of the company, right? What? Well, Kate heard it from Susan, and Susan, because you know she's so and so's assistant, and da 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 da, and all this. So everybody started, you know. So here's my point. I say all of that to say this: if I'm in Afghanistan and I start hearing, psst, psst, you heard Farhan said that it's gonna go down, and they pulling the troops out. I'm telling you, I'm getting the first ticket out of there. I'm gonna be watching the news and people look at me and be like, weren't you just there? I'll be like, I was. I don't know what. Like, I just, you know what I mean? Well, you got to finish a report. You know what? I got a computer. I'm gonna email it to you. I'm gonna go ahead on my computer and I'm gonna email that to you from Ohio. Okay. People act like they can't finish reports in other places in the world. I'm just saying, like, at some point, this goes back to personal culpability and responsibility. We keep saying that about a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so, but it's still a terrible situation. I have a feeling we gonna reinvade. That's just that. If I was a betting man, I put my money on that because you know why? Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, I'm gonna say this last point and then go ahead, Miss Lillian. Because say this with me, children. War is good for the economy. Let's say it all together. War is good for the economy.
Somebody mute his microphone.
Go ahead, Lily.
So there are still 1,000 Americans left in Afghanistan. And because of that, since the original evacuation was supposed to be on August 31st, and Afghanistan has been trying to intervene that, well, a lot of pressure has been on Biden on what his response is and what he's going to be doing. So he made a national statement saying, we will hunt you down and make you pay. We will not forgive and forget, and that we are coming for you. So just that statement alone has gotten a lot of Americans fired up and ready. And what you were just saying about the war, like, surely there is going to be an attack happening, as he ordered military commanders to develop operational plans to strike. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's, I think, ISIS-K assets, leaderships, and facilities.
Yeah, they call them the ISIS-K now.
Mm-hmm. So that's what he's ordering to start striking and happening.
And for those who don't know, ISIS-K is actually a rival group of the Taliban. And ISIS-K flooded into Afghanistan wanting to set it off, right? Because this is what they've been wanting, a situation with the infidel. We're the infidels, by the way, just in case you weren't aware. We are the infidels. So ISIS-K has taken responsibility for these bombings and for what happened outside of the Kabul airport. And as we've seen in other parts of the Middle East, ISIS-K, I guess formerly known as ISIS, yeah, they don't play. Like the Taliban, it's like the new and improved Taliban. Like they having press conferences and they trying to be real diplomatic and, you know, and bro, listen to me. No, there's like a mixture of 3 different accents. But you know, they're trying to be, at least at the surface, they're trying to look like they want to be better. But ISIS is like, nah, we don't even care. We're trying to like murder old people and rape babies, and we just don't care. But I will say this. Yeah, there was a report that went out. They put the Taliban did put a notice out to women, right? Because it was a little bit unsure at first. You know, like, can we go back to work? Can we not go? You know, because a lot of women have been working for the last 20 years, right? And they put a notice out. And this, for me, was interesting because they said women do not go back to work because our foot soldiers have not been trained yet how to respect you. So in other words, we can't be held responsible. We over here giving press conferences. We don't know what Abdul is doing in the streets. You know what I mean? And we ain't trained him yet on how to respect you. So you probably don't want to go back to work because you might catch some smoke. You know what I mean? So that says a lot about the shift. The second we're out 1,000%, I think that says a lot about the shift of what's really about to go down in Afghanistan. So, you know, prayers and definitely thoughts for not only the people there, but honestly, whether you like our administration or not, we need to pray that they use wisdom because this situation does affect us all, whether we realize it or not. It affects the families of the service people. It affects, I'm telling you, especially if we do, you know, if I am correct and we do reinvade, this affects a lot of people. You know what I mean? And so we definitely want the people in power to use wisdom, right? To not be caught up in emotion or just politics, but understand that these are people's lives. And I know
you definitely don't want nothing coming across over here in the United States, and then now we got to be prepared, you know,
between that and COVID. Between that and COVID, it's just wow. So, you know, again, prayers to the people of Afghanistan, especially. I definitely, man, I feel for the women and the children. I feel like, what can you do? It almost feels like it's never going to change. Like it almost feels hopeless. You know, so I can imagine how they feel.
They've been like that for centuries, though. You know, we got
that's what I'm saying. Like, so it feels like
business.
You know, so prayerfully, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. So
no, you said it, prayer. You said it right there.
Yeah, there it is.
All we could do is pray about it, and you know.
There it is. Miss Lillian, what else we talking about? You know what? I do want to say something real quick, though.
Yeah.
And this is just a random ADD side note. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this whole Kanye West and Donda thing, right? With the release of...
saw that, but I was kind of confused at all. Like,
yeah, so you know, obviously he's been supposing to release this album, and the date keeps moving, and he's having these big events.
Okay.
But the other night, at a Donda, another one of these big Donda listening events, there was a moment, and I just found this fascinating, where Kim, I call her Kim Kardashian for those, Kim Kardashian West, for y'all don't know, we on first name basis. But Kim came out in a wedding dress, like a full-on wedding dress with the veil over her face and everything, and did what could only be interpreted as a mock ceremony or even like a reconciliation.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that it's like their marriage again, or like they're starting over or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because you know, Kanye be trying to do these real artistic, you know, and it was just like, y'all love attention that much? That just you know what I mean? Like it was just a moment where it was like, wow, that one's real special right there, that you gonna come out in the okay.
But how did that scene end though?
She walked away. I don't know. I just seen the clip.
Did it fade to black on stage?
You know, they don't say that's the problem with seeing clips. But I will say this: shout out to Kanye. And shout out to myself for being a genius. And shout out to everyone who thought I was crazy when I said this. Years ago, I was coming up with ideas of like how to do something spectacular in a show. You know, for those, some of y'all know, once upon a time, I was a MC. I was a rapper, you know, MC do dirty. All right. So, and I would always say like, yo, I would tell my band members, you know what would be the dopest thing if we ended the whole show if we played a riff. So I told my band we could play Fire, right? And we played that, and I lit myself on fire, and I just walked off the stage on fire, right? And they were like, Jay, you're crazy. That's ridiculous, right? Well, Kanye ended the whole show by lighting himself on fire. Yes. Kanye.
You can't say Kanye. His name is now Ye.
Oh yeah, sorry. He officially legally changed his name to Ye.
What?
Ye.
It's Y-E.
Yeah, but it's pronounced Ye.
Ye. Okay.
Yeah. Ye. So Ye. You know, or some might pronounce it Ye. Hither or thither. The point is, tomato. Ye. Lit himself on fire. I thought so. Shout out, because there was the greatest thing I've seen. And so I just want to say, I told y'all that would be fantastic and people would lose their mind, because everyone did. And so I should have been the first to do it. But shout out to Ye for.
So he walked out with a fire suit on and was like,
yeah. And it faded to black when the dudes came out with the. But I just thought, like, I ran around the room and just was losing my mind because I thought that was the most fantastic thing I had seen. So I don't know what that says about me, but
you want to set the stage on fire.
So yeah,
wedding dress and all of that. It says there's a lot of fans and like memes going around saying that it was hopefully referencing the Beetlejuice reference, and that's what they were doing on stage. So that's all about. I think you know how Kanye would be Beetlejuice and then Kim Kardashian.
Right. I'm shocked that you even know what Beetlejuice is.
What?
Because I don't think anyone under 40 knows what Beetlejuice is.
Of course I know what Beetlejuice is.
Beetlejuice. Yeah, I'm shocked that you know what Beetlejuice is, but you know what? That's kind of that is kind of, you know, and I'll say this last thing about Kanye before we go into the next story.
Yeah.
But it's something I found really interesting. Number one was the fact that not only did he take Jay-Z off of a song that Jay-Z was supposed to be on and replace him with DaBaby. In what world?
That was a lot of questions because DaBaby has a lot of heat on him.
Yeah, but in what world do you replace Jay-Z with DaBaby? In what world is that acceptable? Okay, number one. But number two, they did like this whole scene outside of a little, like an old school little church chapel. And he had Marilyn Manson come out with him. And I'm just, okay, I'm open-minded. I'm an open-minded dude. I just need some clarification. Explain to me why Mr. Jesus is King, you know, and I don't stand in, I just need some, because I don't understand what it meant. Like, I don't know if it meant God is greater than the devil. I don't know. I'm trying to, you know, come up with things, but obviously Marilyn Manson being a famous Satanist, he became a priest in the Church of Satan. And I know a lot of things with Marilyn Manson is tongue in cheek, right? Like it does things to, you know, just kind of, yeah, you know, get in a, you know, a response from people. But he did become, with Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, he became a priest in the Church of Satan, right? Which could mean nothing at all. But I'm just saying it's the juxtaposition of this very blatant, we'll call it dark arts figure, Marilyn Manson, with the Jesus King guy. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there was some kind of a meaning behind it, knowing Ye. There was something that meant. But I need some clarification on it because otherwise it's super confusing. Because literally that would be like a pastor, right, having a pimp come up on stage with him, but don't explain it. Be like, this is my man, you know, this is my man Green Slim, you know what I mean? And then just leave him there and like, wait, are you co-signing the pimp?
This is my man that provides you all your struggles right here.
Yeah, like, and no context, not like, yo, he's turning his life around or nothing, no context at all. Just there he is, the pimp, just chilling on the stage with the pastor. It would be,
but that's what you might know, that industry is meant for us to create our own opinions about stuff. You know, they're not gonna give you any guidance. They put it out there, and then we make up our own stories, and then we get to argue and debate and fight, and you know, keep them in the public.
I guess so, man. I guess so. I don't know.
Maybe he was trying to get the keys back from Satan.
Maybe see that again. Give me some context. Give me some context.
Get the keys back.
You know, and Marilyn Manson was just chilling right there outside the church, which doesn't surprise, because you know the devil be chilling in church all the time. People be thinking he not, but he live in church. So I don't know where, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you were watching this at some point in your life, just give us some answers.
Yeah, I just need some context. That's all. So what else we talking about, Miss Lillian?
So on some other news within the United States, there is a Pennsylvania teacher aide who committed suicide in front of a 14-year-old boy that she was accused of sexually assaulting. And this story has so many layers because that poor boy is going through a lot.
I saw the story, Farhan. So in Pennsylvania, this teacher, I believe she was 38 years old.
Yeah.
Was sleeping with her 14-year-old student. Mm-hmm. Somehow it came out, he told his grandmama. Now, for the record, I'm not saying it's terrible, right? It's definitely a terrible thing. I just know at 14 and 15, I was hitting on Miss Bertolio. Shout out to Miss Bertolio. She was my math teacher. And I would just, my point is this, as dysfunctional as that is, I would have never told my grandmama that I would have never, listen to me, never.
Told his grandma? I thought she was
No, he ended up telling his grandmother. I think she saw a text, and then from there it unraveled, and then he confessed it. But I'd have been like, nah, girl, we just played. Grandma, quit playing. You know what I mean? Jokey jokes. I would have never, I don't know. I've never understood that. So, but that's dysfunction. So don't pay attention. But the point is that she got caught. She went to jail. She was out on bond, right? Getting ready for the trial.
Yeah, $100,000 bond.
And so, but to add insult to injury, so to speak, because most boys don't understand that this is trauma, right? Because we're taught in society that we're supposed to conquest. And so he doesn't understand yet that it was trauma. But to be sure that he was traumatized, she committed suicide in front of him. And I'm sure, and just from understanding people with mental dysfunction, right? Having been a person, I can admit that now, with mental dysfunction in my life at certain parts of my life. This was a very selfish moment. What she did is she pulled him aside and was like, how could you tell? You ruined my life, right? The whole not taking responsibility. Why? There is no other reason you would commit suicide in front of that person other than to punish them, right? Because there's no coming back from that. That like he can't unwitness that. He can't like, even if he didn't understand that the sex was trauma with an older woman, this is definitely traumatic.
Yeah, because the blaming, because he's gonna feel that guilt, or thinking that it was my fault. And whether, I don't know if there was any like love interest or anything, or the way he felt, but if he did have some feelings for it, then that's definitely gonna be traumatizing. As like, oh, you were the reason that she died. And it's not true, but it's sad for her to install that in his brain right before she killed herself, because she had been contacting him and trying to set this meeting up, but then I think the boy told the grandma, and then they called the authorities to come meet at that place, and then the boy was there too, and they were going to get her, but then she just pulled out the gun and then shot herself after saying everything.
I just understand that, like, I had a friend once who dated a girl who was a little bit, as we used to say back in the day, whoo-hoo. She a little whoo-hoo, right? That's how we used to say it back in the day. And she would threaten if he left, like, yo, I'm gonna kill. And just that alone, like, and he didn't even like her. It was just once he was just using her basically to be honest. But I know it would have devastated him had she had ever really done it. So even if you don't like the person, that's something you can't come back from. Like when you literally feel, and we know, we understand as adults that he's not responsible for that, right? But how at 14 years old do you process if someone kills himself in front of you? It pretty much makes it feel that it's because of what you did. How do you process that and not take it, internalize it and say, this is my fault?
Hopefully whoever is around him gets him some serious therapy, for those incidences. But at the same time, then you got to look back at her, right? And this is what my mentor is teaching me, is you got to also look at the person who's, doing these things to folks, right? And so that, imagine it, like I said, for to kind of see like where in the heck was her mind coming from? Can you imagine the tragedies that she's probably experienced sexually? Can you imagine the stuff that she's been through Like we don't consider that this woman is a human being. Like now we label her as a whatever, but who knows what her background is, right? And most of us don't learn about sex from our parents. So when you don't learn sex from your parents and you learn it from trial and error or being molested or being all these different things, some of that stuff that still perpetuates in the back of your mind, and you think, well, it was done to me, yeah, and now you try to either you seeking revenge, like who knows what was going on in her mindset, but for her to, you know, have the state of mind to take her own life as a permanent solution, and not go to jail and do her time, you know.
And that's the thing that bothered me too with that, is like she had a chance to, you know, do her time, start over, and fix her trauma or everything that she had done, and maybe offer like forgiveness and just made the situation so much better and could have done so much more with her life, but to just end it so quickly and just get the quick way out. It's,
I guess unless you've been in a state of mind of hopelessness, like where like it's over, like that's where those other thoughts come into play. Like, okay, then I'm just done. So I'm gonna go get revenge on everybody, and now it becomes frustration and anger and upset, and I'm gonna go and then with no one in that space to kind of talk her out of it, or even reaching out to someone, you make that decision, and it's
because look, unfortunate. Let's be real. The best case scenario was, I don't know if y'all remember the case of Mary Kay Letourneau, who was sleeping with her student, started when he was 14. She got pregnant by him, got pregnant by him again after she went to prison. And then they ended up getting married later after he turned 18, right? They're the best case scenario, right? Because they recently got divorced, actually, but they were together for like 20 something years. But she was always a cancer or a pariah in society, right? She was the one that raped her student, brainwashed him, married him, you know, because I think they ended up having like 3 or 4 kids together.
Wow.
Right. And that's the best case scenario. Like no matter where they went, she was that woman, right? So if you have that in your mind, that's the best case scenario, right? This woman actually, they ended up getting married, you know, but still she had just a disgusting life afterwards, and ended up getting divorced at the end after 20 something years. You can definitely feel like, what's it worth? What's it all worth? Like, I've ruined my life. Go ahead, Front.
But you know, and this is a thing as a society that we do to people. And I talked about this when I first joined the Revolution Radio show, is objectification. When you objectify someone and make them an other, again, you don't know what you're doing to that person that you just objectified and what they're dealing with. And so, you know, again, if she thought that was the worst case and I'm going to be labeled, now we labeling folks, you know, and that it's just unfair to label folks, but that's what we do to people in many fashions. But to be labeled, and then the experience of being labeled, like you have no idea what that does to that person. And so again, worst case or best case is, well, I'm going out all the way, and it's unfortunate.
And this is where, honestly, without getting super deep, the teachings of Yeshua, aka Jesus, really not only become poignant and powerful, but it really becomes like when you understand, oh, this is what it means, right? To love the unlovable, to find value in those whom we've deemed garbage, right? That's when it becomes like, oh, wait a minute, this is deeper than Sunday service, right? Like when we were talking about Chauvin, Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd, when you were telling me to find something redeemable in him, and I was like, what, are you crazy? Like, Ninja, please, right? But hold on, that's what Yeshua would do, right? And so it just challenges you, and it really challenges everything that we've been taught, right, about redemption and who is deserving of redemption, right? And we have to deem it that you're worthy of redemption because you have to prove it to us, right? Because, you know, even, you know, people like, if they apologize, well, I don't think your apology was contrite enough. You know what I mean? And some people are just awkward, you know, in situations like that. So it comes off like my wife and I know a person who, like, we always say she looks dead inside, right? Like but it's not that. It's just that she's not expressive.
Yeah.
Right. So no matter what she says, it's just going to come off. Everything's going to come off the same. Right. But we go, I don't think you were sorry when you said you were sorry because you didn't do what I think you should do. But then if you do now you got crocodile tears. Now you got crocodile tears. And you're over there.
You just want people to feel sorry. So it's like just endless back and forth and no one's ever satisfied.
So it's like, go ahead.
No, I'm just, I'll let you finish. But at the end of the day, that's a life taken. And if we know the value of life, then, you know, Satan has won that battle. So,
well, even for example, Dylan Roof, who murdered the people in the church in South Carolina, right? The death penalty was upheld, right? And I heard an argument, and you know, because people were celebrating, yes, he's getting the death penalty, right? And I heard an argument. It was like, no, Dylan Roof should not get the death penalty. And people were upset. And he said, but wait, let me tell you why. Because it still normalizes taking a life. Mm-hmm. Because even though we're saying it's easy when it's someone like him, right? Because he's, in our minds, the epitome of evil. He went into a church while people were praying and having Bible study, sat and prayed with them. Right? Sat and actually prayed with them. And then while their heads were bowed, he started killing them. So that's the epitome of evil, right? That's the actual picture of evil. Had no remorse, right? A blatant white supremacist. So it's easy to go, oh yeah, see, that is deserving of hell, basically. You deserve to go to hell. You deserve. But then once you've set that, you can kind of keep moving that bar to whatever you deem, you know what I mean? Because as long as it's not you,
right?
You know what I mean? As long as it's not you, that's why what did Yeshua say? You know what I'm saying? He who has no sin, throw the first stone. Sure, throw the stone, throw the rock. Sure, you're right. She broke the law. She was a disgusting pervert of a woman who preyed on a child. He was 14 years old. She was his teacher. Go ahead, y'all. Whoever ain't good, got the rock. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of people, I promise you, that are standing in line doing this. I won't throw the first one, but I will throw the second one.
Yeah, and they're gonna think, oh, it's better off that she's dead, and then like there's so many things. It's just when you get that mindset, then it's like, who's next? Like, who's gonna make the next mistake? And then they're gonna be like, all right, they're next. They don't deserve to be here. They should just be dead. Oh, they're better off that way. And then it's just that mindset. It just builds and grows into something dark. And
well, especially with cancel culture, right? Because cancel culture really is. Because again, we you know, but it really is like the equivalent of taking a woman out and stoning her for adultery, right? Like one is a relatively quick, painful death, right? The other one is a long, drawn out, painful death of a person, right?
Mm-hmm. And the cancel culture, the thing that is just, people will like dig back into celebrities or these influencers' lives and go into like, oh, in 2001, they said that skinny women are the best women or something like that. And then boom, they end their whole career and everything that they work for, even though they already apologized for, oh, I was 10 years old when I said that. I didn't know. I wasn't in the right mindset. I was influenced by social media, this and that. But then it's like, no, you're not forgiven. You did that. You're already done. And it's like, what?
Before we go on to the next story, I'll let y'all know right now, you're going to find a ton of stuff that I've said that's completely insane and wrong and inappropriate. And yeah, my bad.
It'll be in this book.
Yeah, like but like I said, if the dysfunction of my life, all the things that I survived and a heart attack couldn't cancel me, y'all can't cancel me. So you should have killed me.
Time, though, like who has the time to dig back from Twitter? Like,
they do. The Twitter sphere, the Twitter sphere. Oh, them people got all day long.
Yeah, evidence against everybody.
And those people, you don't know, those people are the most holy, perfect, wonderful human beings on the planet Earth. They've never even broke a plate. Them people, you know what I mean?
And the cancel, and I looked it up a while back. Cancel culture is just another term for exclusion, and so we know that exclusion, is a silent trauma on folks. So if you get excluded from that entertainment industry, from what you said, that's rough.
That's the scarlet letter.
Yeah,
that's walking around with the scarlet letter. See, some of these kids in school, they don't know what that is. The scarlet letter. They don't
regurgitate it as another term. Now it's cancel culture, but it's at the core of it is exclusion, and exclusion towards silent traumas on the brain, emotional traumas, and that's what that does.
See, this show's kind of deep. If you really pay attention, this show kind of deep. You know what I mean?
These people's lives at stake, It's people's lives.
Well, on some lighter news.
Oh, let's go lighter.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but have you seen the TikToks or the videos where people are building a pyramid of crates and then standing on them and balancing or fighting each other or just all of that?
Yes.
What I'm referencing. It says that TikTok has banned the milk crate challenge because of all the injuries that have happened from them, as so many people were taking a part of this challenge to see if who can stand on the top of all these crates and balance and make it back down. But then it just becomes a comedic act of just hurting themselves. And as though it's hilarious, it is a serious thing because
a lady died. There was a lady who died because more people than not actually fail the milk crate challenge, right?
Yes.
Because first of all, people, listen to me, listen to your uncle. All right, this is Uncle Jiggy talking to you. If you not athletic on the ground, okay? If you not athletic regular, just on regular ground, what makes you think you're gonna have any kind of agility on some milk crates? Okay. But yeah, a woman actually fell off, hit her head on the concrete, and ended up dying.
Oh my goodness.
From the milk crate challenge. Okay. Plus the
That's
ERs.
Like the Tide Pod challenge where kids were eating Tide Pods because it was a challenge.
I'm not trying to be the old guy that these confounded children, these children. But come on, y'all keep proving some stupidity that don't make no kind of sense. Look.
Yes. And people were even offering up crates like, oh, I got crates in my backyard. Oh, I got crates here. There was this one guy that had crates as a bed frame, and they're like, I can let you guys use my crates, but you have to build my bed back.
First of all, I think it's a government conspiracy. They've been dropping off these crates in the hood like they did.
There's so many crates everywhere. I don't know how many people are getting them.
Those are the milk crates from the school. I don't know if y'all remember that far back.
Yeah,
when I was in elementary school, that's where the milk came in them.
Yeah.
Crates.
Yeah, it's wild. This is the conspiracy I'm with. This is the conspiracy, the way they dropped off guns in the hood
and cocaine. They
dropped off the cocaine.
They drop it out.
Like, what's the new way? We gonna drop off some milk crates. That's how we gonna get rid of them. You know what I'm saying?
I bet if you even try to buy one online, it was skyrocketed because they became.
I was about to be like a dope dealer selling crates on the block. Like, yo, I got them blue crates. I got the black crates. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insane the things that people will gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they will gravitate. But I got a challenge. How about let's start a business? Let's do business together. Can we do that challenge?
No.
Hey, that's just as scurry. That's just as scurry as crates. Yo, I might take the crates. I take the crate challenge.
No, listen. If you want to do something scary, let's start a business together. That's ooh.
You just sound crazy right now.
You know what I mean? Can we do a let's buy property together challenge? How about that challenge? Let's buy up 40 acres.
Then there's gonna be no houses left, so no one wants to start that challenge.
Hey, if they can't get us with the drugs and the guns and the gang violence,
it's
and the
stupidity.
Now it's gonna be the crates. The milk crates.
It's absolutely insane. And listen, if I see any more grown folk, and you know what I mean by grown folk, anybody past 30 doing this challenge, I'm gonna go push the crates myself.
People who are doing
I know. This is what I'm saying.
Old cat fell on his chest.
Yeah, he's still laying there. He's still. Do you understand? Listen, when you hit 40, something happens. You ain't even gotta fall from some crates. You just wake up in the morning and it feels like somebody done threw you off some crates. Do you understand how long it takes to recuperate after you hit 40? For you to fall from some crates and hit yourself, like you will be out of commission for at least 6 months. It's gonna be.
I'm gonna say 30. When I blew my birthday candles out at 30, I said, "Oh, my leg hurt."
Listen, I got a phenomenon going on in my life right now. I be waking up in the morning with just for no reason a cramp in my calf. Like it just be ooh. There's no reason. There's no reason. Sometimes I just get up off the couch and my kidneys burst. I get up off the couch and my kidneys burst inside my body.
It's like, how is the crates, like they must be really sturdy to hold like everybody's weight as well. Like
no, they're not. That's why they're not holding weight.
Yeah, they're not. They're sturdy when there's something inside of them.
Like, how do they not just like break or like crumble? Like,
they have in a couple of videos. Look for them. There's some folks that have been on there. You like,
yeah. Well, TikTok is banning them. They got rid of the challenge, the hashtag, and they're trying to get rid of the videos and all that. But you already know everybody's saving them or doing what they do. But
TikTok needs to go away. I saw another story, and again another ADD moment. But I saw another moment where a girl. Ended, and this is a terrible story. It's absolutely terrible. But to tell you just how ridiculous TikTok is, long story short, her and her little daughter, who was 3 years old, would always do dance TikToks, right? This was a crazy young mother. She was abusive. She ended up beating her daughter to death, right?
Oh, wow.
Saying that the little girl just died, right? While the police were doing investigation for days after, the little girl dying, she was like, dancing makes me feel better. So she would do dance TikToks in memory of her daughter because dancing always makes me feel better. She went back to TikTok. They have
more clout and everything after freaking killing her own daughter.
Yeah, because she kept saying like, "Oh, I don't know, she died in her sleep." Right. So while the cops were doing an investigation, obviously she was out, and for several days afterwards. She would post TikToks. And I'm like, how much of a narcissistic generation have we become?
Oh man, you don't even want to know.
So if you were doing TikToks with your daughter, wouldn't doing dancing TikToks again bring back like those memories? Like, wouldn't you feel like even worse doing
because we're so narcissistic. Like, watch kids. When we were growing up, we got like 5 minutes. When we were growing up, like if you would show kids videos of themselves, they'd be embarrassed. Like, I don't want to see that, right? Like, look, this was you in the school play. And it's like, you never wanted to see those videos because you were like, oh my God, I look stupid. Kids now, like they run to go see videos of themselves. Anytime there's a video of themselves, like we're breeding a whole generation of narcissists. That is all all
now
about
you
look at me.
need to have the videos yourself so that you can have it, you know, for the future. It's
like I think I have literally 20, 30 pictures of me growing up. Like me, I never took pictures. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a thing. Like every now and then we'd take pictures with, you know, whatever. But it wasn't like, do you know how many just of baby A of pictures? Like there was literally a time in my phone, literally one time he sat there and took 87 selfies in one day in a car ride from here to LA. I looked in my phone. I'm like, why is there 87 selfies?
he said, for you to remember me, Dan.
So this is what I'm talking about. It's a problem. It is absolutely insane that people can't do anything without filming it.
Yes, that is a problem.
Like, look, when I see things, I can only tell you about it because it's not my first instinct to take out my camera. But everyone else is their first instinct.
Yeah, that is true, because even I've heard so many stories where there's like a tragic thing happening, or like someone is like deeply crying because of something, and then the first thing is like, oh, I'm gonna record it, or I'm gonna record myself. And a lot of people are like, how is that your first instinct? Like,
well, for example, remember about a week and a half ago, there was a dude on the subway who was harassing an old lady for wearing a mask, right? It went viral. They ended up finding the dude. But the thing is that like he was harassing her for wearing a mask and he wasn't. And there was a mandate on the subway for masks to be worn. But the point is, she was an old lady, literally a senior citizen, an elderly woman. And this big dude was like, harassing her. And you shut up and sit down. I believe in freedom. And, and he kept chanting 1776. But here's my point. The dude was filming it. He wasn't butting in and going, hey, pal, leave her alone. He was filming it. So because now if you film it, okay, we need these videos. Yes, whatever. Because then cool. But the point is that nobody does anything. People take out their phones.
Like you could have been recording as you were stepping in or something, but like just to be from a back and be like, oh, well, I'm going to give this to evidence. That's my contribution.
I'm not built that way. If I see a dude harassing an old lady, believe me, I'm getting in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not built that way. I come from a different generation. I'm cut from a different cloth. If I see somebody getting beat up, I'm not going to film it. I'm going to go get involved. If I see a woman being attacked, I'm not going to film it. I'm going to get involved. And I know you shouldn't necessarily put yourself in danger. I'm not saying put yourself in danger, but you know what else a phone can do? It can make a call.
Yeah, like
right? A phone. Hello, a woman's being attacked right now.
Yeah,
that's what a phone. For those of y'all who don't know, phones actually make phone calls. I know y'all can just only type in them, and take videos, but they do make phone calls. Just saying.
Lillian, do you in your generation, because you're younger than me, of course, do you hear these kind of conversations in your generation of folks? Like, does it make sense, or what is that coming from? Do you?
Well, I do have a lot of. I do see those conversations happening, but I do notice that it's not like some of them will be from like the younger generation being like commenting and being like, why were you recording during this time? Like, why didn't you do something? Why, like if you're having a personal moment, like why record it and then post it for everybody? Like that should be something you keep for yourself. Just things like that. So I do hear that, and there are like other people within my generation that have some of that. Well, you shouldn't be posting everything or recording everything, but there are moments where they record something that happens and then they'll go like on Twitter or Instagram or whatever and be like, okay, now everybody do their thing and find this person, let's get them. And so it's like, I don't know, I think that's the way that a lot of younger folks think that they can help, or that they can kind of contribute to do something. It's like, have the evidence, then post it, and then tell everybody, okay, let's come together as a collective group and find this person, or like, get justice for it.
Yeah.
And
it just depends on how it's being used.
I suppose I'm old. I don't know.
That's the cancel culture really started as well, because people were being like, all right, getting somebody's video or whatever, and then being like, we need to find this person. Everybody, come on, let's get him. Let's get him recorded.
And the internet be finding people quick. So I hate to do this, but this show goes by super fast. Y'all got anything to say before we get out of here?
No, have a great weekend. Enjoy.
Everybody drink your water. It's like in the hundreds this weekend, and it's going to be crazy, so you stay hydrated.
I love the way Lillian cares about people. But yes, y'all have an amazingly blessed weekend, man. God willing, we will see you next week. And with that, as always, we want to remind you, reach for your best, reach for success, but most of all, reach for God, because God is love and love is everything. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Oh my.